Hey, yo, what up? This is not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Rob Markman, man. Got a lot of music to talk about. Yesterday, we talked about Freddie Gibbs. You Only Die Once. Dope album. Check that video out if you hadn't gotten a chance to. Today, I want to talk about Doeburger. All right? AbSoul, the new album by AbSoul called Doeburger. The album is dedicated to his man, the late Doeburger, who passed away in 2021. If you know AbSoul, if you listen to his music, if you've been to his show, if you follow him on social media, if you're a fan, then you know Doeburger, you know the impact, the bond, the camaraderie between the two. So, obviously when Doe passes away in 2021, it takes a toll. And so Soul is expressing himself now. Doeburger is the fusion of AbSoul and Doeburger, right? Both of them put together. He says this is not an AbSoul project. It's a new entity. Doeburger is a new entity. Soul is the underground guy. We know he can rap, supreme lyricist, stacking words, layering them, double and triple, quadruple entendres. The poetry of it all. We know Soul is a master of that. But he did an interview recently with DJ Head and Gina Views. Shout out to the homies at Effective Immediately. That's their new show. Definitely check it out, man. I'm super proud of what DJ Head has been doing for himself over the past year. I remember when he left the radio station and said, hey, I don't want to be a part of that. I want to build my own, and to see him to continue to build it, I can only salute it, brother. So shout out to DJ Head. But yeah, AbSoul was on Effective Immediately, and he's telling the story about Doeburger telling Soul that when he goes to shows, that when Soul does his shows, that people are engaged, but it's with the raps, and they just stand there and they just watch him, and they're kind of in awe in comparison. And then he compared it to a Schoolboy Q show where it's more jumping, where it's more turned up. And I think with that is where Soul made this album, maybe with those jewels that Doe was giving him, throughout his career, and so it doesn't mean that this album is more palatable or commercial leaning than the other Soul albums. It's not like this is not like the AbSoul sellout album or anything like that. So this is just in case you haven't heard it yet. Like, I'm setting it up. This is not like AbSoul trying to do dance records or anything like that. It's not that at all. The album is still Soul doing what Soul does best. Densely packed, layered lyrics that you rewind, that you scratch your head, that makes you think, that makes you feel. It's poetry. But it definitely got some joints on here that's jumping, so to speak. So it starts off with 9 Mile. 9 Mile is the intro, Soul to Soul sample, 1989 classic. Y'all know the record. I hope y'all know the record. Back to Life. However do you want me? However do you want me? However do you need me? Y'all know that record. Quick crazy fact about the original song. Karen Wheeler, the singer, right, said that she wrote the song after a near-death experience. Like, she literally came back to life and wrote the song. So to me, that makes the song even iller. It is a classic record. And when I heard the story a couple of years ago, Karen Wheeler saying how she wrote the record and what it personally meant to her and what the record is really about, I think it makes the record even iller. But so, to start the song or start the album, Soul is giving us it's like a Belly feel. If you watch the movie Belly, cult classic, one of my favorite movies is I know a lot of people don't like the movie, but Belly is great for what it is. But that classic intro scene to me is one of the best cinematic movie openings that I ever seen, definitely of this generation, where they're robbing the club, Nas and DMX and them, and the background music is Soul to Soul, however do you want it, Back to Life. So this is how Soul opens the album. I thought that was dope. So, and then, it also intertwines. It's called 9 Mile. So there's a nod to Eminem's 8 Mile movie. Verse 2, he flips Eminem's final verse from the 8 Mile movie. The classic verse where Eminem just like starts dissing himself. So they can't diss him, right? So this is what Soul says. He says, I am broke. I am on fucking drugs. Don't own shit. I'm paying rent for my baby's mom. I take a 7.62 for top dog. I did jump off the bridge on Del Amo Boulevard. I'm blessed, but question why God would have mercy on the junkie. Biggest lie I ever told is that it ain't about the money. Hopped out the rabbit hole, but now I'm really tripping. I'm still standing here screaming, fuck the whole system. So he takes the Eminem approach. I ain't doing no justice, man. But I thought that was a dope verse. I think this is a dope intro. And it's so opening up, right? I think one of the common misconceptions for people who don't listen to AbSoul and talk about AbSoul, it's like he's just rapping, he's just putting words together. But he tells his life. He tells a story. Like there's literally soul in these verses. These aren't words just around words. So I mean, in this verse right here, talking about 2022 when he had the failed suicide attempt. I did jump off the bridge on Del Amo Boulevard. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, shout out to Soul, man. Like there's a lot in here. I'm still really trying to figure out the album. It just came out. So, I'm not sitting here. I don't do reviews. If y'all watch me, I'm not going to give a rating to this. It's just like I'm listening and, hey, these are my thoughts. It's just how I feel. Now, there's a song that really stands out that I don't see very many people talking about, and it's fire, and I want to talk about it. The song's called Peace, all right? Features AbSoul, features Lupe Fiasco, features Punch, TDE President, also raps his ass off. And then there's a special verse on there that I don't know that people are realizing what's going on with this verse. It's AbSoul rapping from Doe's perspective in heaven, and he's using a bit of AI. He's using AI, so it sounds like Doe, but it's Soul rapping as if he was Doe looking down from heaven. He says, "I'm speaking in past tense like I ain't still here, cussing your blind ass out. I know you still here. Leave them fucking drugs alone. Get on your A game. You getting old. It's getting colder every day, gang. I'm glad your ass was in the cask and not the casket. You could have died, but you survived. Now get your cash, bitch. Kiss my nieces for me. Practice what you preaching, homie." Wow. Like, talking about, again, the Del Amo Boulevard, the bridge, the failed suicide attempt, right? I'm glad your ass was in the cask and not in the casket. We know also, right? Leave them fucking drugs alone. Get on your A game. We know, again, if you know Soul, these aren't words just to rhyme words. Soul has been open about his drug addiction in lyrics, So this is his life. So to hear Doeburger's voice, like, I had to rewind it. I was like, was this was this a verse that he laid? Like, it took me a minute to figure out. Like, I heard it. I'm like, hold on. Like, and how did he have the foresight to write this before? Like, is this what was going on? Like, but then, the rhymes was like, so I was first time I was confused. It made me rewind. It made me rewind again. It made me go back. And then, Punch follows up. So it goes, it's Soul, Lupe, then there's a beat change, and it's the Doeburger verse, again, rapped by AbSoul using AI, and then Punch closes the record. And in Punch's verse, he says, "Yeah, I shed a tear hearing Doe's voice. I pray for peace in the back of a Rolls Royce." So, these are these guys who aside from Lupe, I'm assuming Lupe knew Doe. If you spend any time around Ab, you knew Doe. But obviously, Ab was super close to him. Punch, and literally trying to find peace on a record. You know what I mean? Like when somebody passes, literally trying to find peace on the record. I know that AI is a hot button topic in music. I definitely have my reservations about AI and how AI is used, the dangers of AI in music. Absolutely, right? Like, but the creativity here, the heart here, the humanity in it, the soul in it, no pun intended. This isn't AI being used to skip steps. This isn't AI being used to fool you or trick you out your money or cut creatives out of the game. Okay, we don't need certain creatives anymore because we got a computer to do it. This is how can I enhance the feeling and the storytelling and maybe even find some peace within a record by creating something like this. I can't speak for Soul and his motivations. He'll have to speak on it. But that's what I got out of it. I think I could hear already Drake fans were off the Taylor Made freestyle with the Snoop Dogg and the Tupac AI verse, and everybody was so up in arms. I won't be surprised that once people find this out, that they'll start using that. They'll start turning this into a Drake conversation. I think this is a different conversation. I think this doesn't have anything to do with that, with the fact that this was AbSoul's man that he actually knew, like intimately knew, like spent, you know what I'm saying, days upon days upon days, like countless, like times, like shared meals, broke bread, shared thoughts, shared secrets, shared dreams, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's somebody who he really knew, and I think can take a creative license to speak for. You know what I'm saying? Would Doe have said these exact words? Possibly. But I trust that the sentiment is right in line with how his man felt. These are probably things that Doeburger told Soul while they was alive, and now it's just in rhyme form for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is dope. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. Some more of my favorite joints off of here. All That with Jason Martin is hard. Like, I really like that record. Also, shout out to Jason Martin. For those who don't know, he used to go by the name Problem. Classic record. Like what? Like, I mean, just he got classic joints as Problem. Like What maybe being the biggest and most recognizable, but there's countless others. So Jason, switched his name, went to his government name, Jason Martin. But he just dropped a new project too. It's called the 5-Pack, and he got this record called Problem, where he sampled Layla's Not My Problem. Y'all know the right, that's just not my problem. Like, so that's Layla's record. That's Mos Def's daughter. That's but she's her own person. But that's her original record, Not My Problem. A lot of people know it from Cash Cobain sampled it, Problem, and he put everybody on. He put 100 people on the record. So Jason Martin used the same sample, once again sampled Layla's record. I feel like he had to, like being that his name used to be Problem. So the bounce on this Jason version is super fire. It's super West Coast. I heard it. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And then the way he just weaves in and out of the sample, telling his story, I thought was dope. So if you haven't heard it, definitely check out Jason Martin Problem. It might be hard to Google. You might get a couple other things coming up. But he just dropped a video on YouTube, and it's definitely on Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming services. So Jason Martin Problem, hard record. But back to Solo. I thought his collaboration with Vince Staples was dope. California Dream. Bucko Jr. was another one of my favorite that was produced by Python P. Shout out to Python P. Kind of reminded me like it was inspired by Wayne, by Birdman Jr., by that record. It definitely took, when you listen to the record, you'll know what I mean. Don Julio 70 with Fresh. I thought that back and forth between Fresh and Soul was super fire. Crazier with J.I.D. They both went stupid. Man. When Jizz said, cutting up coke with a razor is getting crazier, the nasally Nas, but I'm more Jay-Z-er, awkwardly walking back on tracks like Ryan Shazier. Like, Jid, I guess it's going to be 2025 when we get the next Jid project. I know he got one with Metro. But I think what happens with Jid next is going to be game-changing. I think Jid is on the cusp of going to another level. So, yeah, Jid and Soul on that Crazier record, hard. And then the album closes with The Sky is Limitless, right? It uses the same sample as Biggie's Sky's the Limit, which coincidentally was produced by Clark Kent, who just recently passed. Rest in peace to Clark Kent. He was just recently laid to rest. So it's just, I'm assuming the Soul record was, and I don't know that he had a connection to Clark at all past, I mean, they may have known each other, but, past of just the connection that most of us had with Clark, being fans, being respectful of his position, being in awe of the things that he's done. I don't know, though, if Soul and Clark had a tight bond. They may have. But I say all that to say, I think this is just coincidental. I think this record is already in the works. You know what I mean? I could be wrong. I think this record's already in the works, and it lands at the time of Clark Kent's passing. And just one of those things of, man, this is how the universe works. Because I just think it's a beautiful record. I think it was funny. In time, Sky's the Limit has become one of my favorite Biggie records. Like top 10 for sure. Maybe top 5. You know what I'm saying? And when it first came out, it wasn't like I love the record and the beauty of the record. But as I got older, I've learned to appreciate that record more and what that record means. So Soul flips it, and instead of Sky's the Limit, it's like, nah, the sky is limitless. So he just adds on to it. The instrumentation is different, but Blast is on the hook. It's a beautiful record. It's a beautiful way to close the record, man. So shout out to Soul for that. Great way to close the album. Overall, I fuck with this album. I'm still listening to it, though. I don't know how to rate it. I'm not sitting here like, I don't think it's not the best soul album to me. Even though he says don't judge it as an AbSoul album, it's a Soulberg album. It's not my favorite soul album, but I've only been listening to it a couple of days, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this album out, but these are the things that I like about it. These were my takeaways initially, man. And shout out to TDE, man, because I think when Kendrick finished his contract and said, I'm going to go on and do my own thing, and PG Lang, and, we still, Mr. Morale is still technically a TDE project. We haven't gotten the first Kendrick project off of TDE as a label. I think during this past year, we've seen that they're still very much fam and very much locked in. But it'll be interesting to see if anything changes now that he's on his own or now that he's not with TDE. But anyway, when that happened, when Kendrick was like, all right, I'm going to start my own thing. I fulfill my contract. I'm going on to do my own thing. There was a lot to talk about TDE on social media. There were a lot of people questioning the future of the label. Without their biggest star, could they continue on? Could they still be relevant? And then we got SOS after that. And now SZA is the big dog on the label, right? And then this year, they've been slowly building up Doechii. And this year feels like the arrival of Doechii and the Grammy nominations that Doechii got. Well deserved. I think Schoolboy Q dropped a fantastic project. One of the best this year with Blue Lips. Now we have Soul. I mean, this project feels impactful. Sir. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I think TDE just got back to what TDE is doing. Shout out to Punch. Shout out to A Room Full of Mirrors. I like what they're doing. I'm not sure if that is exactly on TDE. With Daylight and Ichiban Don and Punch, and I'm not, but it's Punch, so it's TDE adjacent, even if it's not on paper. I don't know. I truly don't know. I just don't know what it is, but I think TDE has always been kind of labeled like, yo, we're going to figure it out. We're going to work, and we're going to put it out when it's right. So that's why the albums take a little bit longer to come out. I think they let artists be artists. Doesn't seem like they're chasing anything. But shout out to TDE, man. That's probably a whole other video about this resurgence of TDE. Nah, it's a real resurgence. You know what? I'm not even going to put the quote marks on it because they were counted out. I think that's a whole other video. But I'm going off on the tangent here. AbSoul, Soulberger. What do you think? What are your favorite tracks? Let me know in the comments. Holla at me. What do you think about that Peace track, man? Let's talk about it, all right? Till next time. Peace.